how long does it take a man to know she's the one? So the answer to that question is not long at all. Now, I know there are a lot of people who want to tell you it takes a long time and, men don't always know and love takes time and things like that, right? But when you actually sit down and speak to men who have felt like they found the one, and it's very important that we understand that when we say the one, it's very different from what we're seeing play out in many relationships. And I'll break that down in a few seconds or in a few minutes. But when he feels like she's it, she's the soulmate, twin flame, whatever you want to call it, right? It doesn't take him long. I can't put a specific time frame. What I can tell you is, at the very least, in a matter of days or weeks, the man can at least see there is serious potential here. All right? Granted, there's always exceptions to the rule. There's always situations where maybe he wasn't fully aware or paying attention, or maybe didn't have a chance to maybe spend time with a woman in a way that allowed him to see the kind of connection they had. But if they are intentionally dating and getting to know each other, then no, it just doesn't. And it's important for you as a woman to understand this, because I see so many ladies allowing situations to drag out much longer than they should, because you're being told this whole recognizing you're the one, recognizing he wants to marry you, all these things takes a long time. No. And I would argue that for a lot of men, they knew early on, if not in some cases instantaneously, the process that it took from that moment to maybe months later or years later was just going through the formalities. It wasn't a matter of him trying to figure out if this is the one for me. It was just him saying, okay, well, let's make sure we got all our ducks in a row. Let's make sure maybe finances are in order. He's setting the table for things to go well. Or he's just making sure I'm not wrong with what I'm feeling. So it's almost like, man, I really think she's the one, but let me just take my time, make sure that I'm not jumping the gun, being infatuated, things like that. Now, to give you some examples of why I say it's quick and in many cases instantaneous, I've seen multiple scenarios where men who are known players, all right, men who say, man, I'm not even looking for a relationship, meet a woman and day one come back to me and say, man, I think I found her. I think she's it. Again, can they say, I know for a fact? No. And I think the ability for the man to know for a fact also depends on his level of awareness. And when I say level of awareness, one with self. If the man doesn't know himself, it may take him longer to recognize who aligns with him and who he should be with. Okay? If a man is not in tune spiritually, that can delay the process of him recognizing who is for him and who isn't for him. But if he has matured, if he has evolved, if he has gotten more in tune with self, then it becomes a lot easier, which is why I would argue that as a man ages and has been through more life, his ability to recognize she's the one is a lot easier or a lot quicker, because he's seen so much of the wrong. It's not hard to tell when someone separates themselves from the pack. It slaps you like a ton of bricks. And as a woman, you may have or will experience the same thing, where when it's that guy who's just that guy, it just hits different. Okay? So bottom line, we won't keep dragging this point on, but the point is, it doesn't take him long. It is quick. All right? And you got to understand, you don't need to be giving men forever to figure out what they want to do. Now, the second thing I need you to know before I break down how he knows she's the one, how men know she's the one, is that as quickly as I'm telling you it can happen or they can recognize she's the one, is as quickly that can change to other things. So what I mean by that is this. I tell women all the time, you can go from the woman of his dreams to just a woman he wants to sleep with like that. Plain and simple. It could be something that was done, something that was said. information that was found out. Now, the reason why I say information that was found out, here's a story that I feel like the need to talk about. And this, depending on the environments that you're in, this may or may not apply. So I knew of a story where this was in college, and this guy met this girl, and again, in the matter of days, he's like, oh my gosh, she's the one, right? And so he's trying to take his time and, show her that he's serious, and he's trying to build something with her. Well, I want to say a month into them dating and getting to know each other, he hears information from one of his acquaintances, I think is a better label to give, that a few of his boys had laid down with her, okay? And let me say this, in fairness, we don't know to this day if those dudes were telling the truth or not, all right? I will say, based on some information that I end up being privy to later on, I do think it was accurate information they were giving them. Either way, him becoming aware of this completely changed his perception of her, all right? And so now, for him, it was like, I can't view her as the woman that I want to be with anymore. I don't put her on that quote unquote pedestal anymore. But now, and I'm not saying this is healthy or okay, I'm going to still try to sleep with her. In his head, the other dudes got it, so why not me? All right. Again, not saying it's right, just showing you how it can change very quickly. All right. And that's why I have to say to women who are in environments where people can be telling your business and can get around, I'm going to mention examples like small cities or towns, college, school, things of that nature. All right. Workplaces. Okay. These are environments where it's very easy that if you're dealing with this one or that one, information can circulate. And now if you try to deal with someone you actually like, and he's actually viewing you as, oh my gosh, this could be it. And then he hears what happens, it could change everything. All right. Again, not saying whether that's the way it should be or not. I'm telling you, this is what happens. So it's important that you do understand that, yes, it can change very fast. And the reason why, let me say this, before I tell you the reason why it's important for you to understand that, as though it can change very fast from woman of his dreams to another woman that he just wants to sleep with, it is very less likely for you to go from woman he just wants to sleep with to woman of his dreams. I'm not saying it's never happened, but it's an extremely rare case. So I've seen some women, I'll give you another story. This might sound really crazy, but this is an honest to God true story. I received a message in my DM many years ago, and a woman said, I'm dating this guy, and I'm one of 6. All right? So he has 6 girls, 1 for each day of the week. I know there's 7 days of the week. I'll explain the 7th day in a second. All right? So for 6 of those 6 days of the week, he has a rotation of women. She's in the rotation, but she claims that I'm the hottest of the 6, and I want to know what I can do sexually. This is a real question. What I can do in the bedroom to make him pick me. Okay? And I said, listen, he's not going to pick you. He doesn't have a certain level of respect for you. That's why he even has you in a rotation of the 6. And I said, if he had more respect for you, he'd be handling this different. And then she came back and she said, that's interesting that you said that because there is a 7th girl. And the 7th girl, he doesn't have sex with. The 7th girl, he doesn't even bring around the other 6. He isolates that one. Why? Because that's the one. That's the one that he views like, and whether you want to say, well, if she was really the one to him, he wouldn't be dealing with the other 6. That's a whole different discussion right now. But his perception was, this is the woman I put on the pedestal. This is the woman I would want to be with. These other 6 are just here to have fun. And I had to explain to her, listen, there you go. That's your evidence right there. The chance that he will upgrade you from rotational player to being the star is simply not likely. You know what I'm saying? So I mentioned that part because I see a lot of women who attempt to stay in a man's life, play girlfriend or be whatever he wants in the bedroom, thinking that somehow I'm gonna get that upgrade to the top position. And no, walk away from that. Now, going back to the fact that you can go quickly from top of the line down to just another woman he wants to sleep with, pushed into the rotation like in that example, I mentioned that because I see a lot of women who, let's say you meet a guy and things are going great initially, right? Let's say for the first 2 months, he is amazing. And then after month 2, he completely falls off in his effort, his actions, so on and so forth. And then I hear a lot of women get angry and frustrated like, oh, these men are just playing games. He was never serious. And I'm not saying this next part to make you think it's okay what he did. It's to explain to you that sometimes the fall off is not because he was playing games from day one. It's because his perception of you and the situation changed. All right. And again, I don't say that to you for you to beat yourself up about it or feel bad about it. I say it to you because my concern is if you start to think that every man is just playing games, you don't take no one serious. And now what also happens is when a man is showing you effort and the next guy's serious, you have in the back of your head that, oh, any day now he's going to be on that foolishness. Any day now he's going to stop. And you don't realize how in expecting the next pin to drop, you're projecting a negative outcome, which contributes to creating a negative outcome. So in order to have a more positive approach and to have a better chance of nurturing the situation and seeing it flourish, I need you to understand that yes, sometimes the man is starting off genuine, does view you as this could be it, but something along the way changes his perception. All right? And sometimes, I have to say this, sometimes you as a woman experience that same shift on your end in the process, but you chose not to let go. You chose, well, I'm already deep in, I'm going to keep this thing going. All right? Or, you know what? I was hoping for better. I'm going to keep holding on to hope. And he simply fell off. But again, what happens with a lot of men is he may fall off, but that doesn't mean he's going to stop dealing with you. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Wouldn't it be so nice if you could see a guy that you want, be able to verify if he actually is a good guy, look at his relationship facts, maybe so to speak, right? And